Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sonic. Would you believe, for all of my tremendous, extensive experience in video games, I don't have a lot of Genesis experience. I have never actually owned a Genesis myself, and I've only therefore ever played other people's Genesis games. I've actually played a decent number, but all of like the well-known ones, right? I've played Toe Jam and Earl, I've played Golden Axe, you know, all the stuff that everybody knows about. I, as a consequence, then have kind of played Sonic 1, never beaten it. Kind of played Sonic 3, never beaten that. Never played Sonic CD. And I forget what else, but like we'll keep going through this as we go. I have played Sonic 2. I've beaten Sonic 2 many times. It was like the one, I think I've told this story many times. There was a girl who I was friends with, and we used to play video games in her room. And her dad would be like, "What are they up to up there?" And we're just playing video games. But we used to play, among other things, Sonic 2 quite frequently. Because she had the Genesis and I had the SNES. So, either way. So I don't have a lot of history with the Sonic series. In fact, I can name the first Sonic game I actually liked, because you're listening to its soundtrack right now. Sonic has a hell of a history, though. It's kind of funny in its own way. I want you to picture this, okay? Rewind time to me telling you the people who I have to say thank you to for this list. Forgive me, I forgot about this. So shoutouts and thank yous to Alex Corbianiki, Ben One Eye, Blade Terval, Blue Dragon EXE, Dame Celeste, Hecht Klug, Frieza 2000, Game Geek 5698, Judo Joker, Kara White Noise, Lucas Slaughter, Mr. Red 97, Noctis X Soul, Offshore Twitch Account, President Clamp, Savicom, Super Banjo 234, Von Falkenstein, Wenlock, Hoogirl 2011, Will King 15, Wolverale 12, Czar 387, Zeiss, Irame, the person who put this game on the list, which is actually Ross. That shocks me a little bit. And the people who put this towards the majority stakeholders. The people who've donated the most money towards this, which is Chill Pangolin, Reximus, of all things. I think this is one of the only games Rex actually donated a lot of money towards. And Valerian. Thank you, all of you, very, very much for making this happen. So, yeah, more than $4. It's shocking, which is funny because Ross only put 2. So, there we are. It's 19 bajillion, right? It's been 7 months. Actually, hang on, let's rewind here. So, Sonic came out 7 months after Super Mario World dropped in Japan. In fact, in Japan, they had Super Mario World, F-Zero, Final Fight, Gradius 3, Darius Twins, and SimCity. All of those were out in Japan prior to the Genesis, excuse me, Sonic 1 coming out. But the thing is, the Genesis has been out for several years. The Genesis came out in October of '88, and consequently August of '89 for those of us here in the States. It's actually always been funny to me how Sega has always been consistently ahead of Nintendo in terms of hardware release. And always behind in the quality of the hardware, but that's neither here nor there. Excuse me. So, several games have come out. Why would... I'm sorry, hang on, to quote it, what? Your statement confuses me so much that I don't actually know how to process it. What does platformer have to do with anything? SimCity isn't a platformer either. Or Gradius 3, or F-Zero, or Darius Twin. What? Am I having stroke? Did I say something really stupid? Getting back on script for a second here. The Genesis has been out for several years. 3 years, actually, at this point in time. They had already had a smattering of games that had seen financial success. Phantasy Star 2, Ghouls and Ghosts, Golden Axe, Phantasy Star 3, and those are the only games that actually caught my eye. There's actually a ton of games I can't pronounce because they only have Japanese titles because they only came out in Japan. And you're starting to notice a trend here. The Genesis was a little bit bigger in Japan than it was everywhere else, and they knew it. The Genesis needed what Nintendo already had. They needed a mascot because the Genesis just wasn't moving units and hadn't even come out yet in the States. Okay. At this point, sorry, I just mentioned it came out in August of '89 in the States, but the point is, they kept bumping into issues. It's worth noting, for most of its existence, Nintendo didn't even acknowledge Genesis as an actual competitor. If that sounds funny, it's because you probably are familiar with either the memes or was actually there for the marketing campaigns. I'm sure at least one of you has heard of Genesis do what Nintendo don't, right? That was the brainchild of a gentleman named Michael Katz, who was really pushing a ton of money into marketing to try and make Sega the big name and to crush Nintendo. It didn't work. In fact, it worked so badly that Michael Katz was fired over that because he blew so much money on marketing and it didn't move the needle, right? It was a good slogan, it just didn't work. Yeah, the whole blast processing. They were really blowing money, and I mean actually burning money on marketing. And it wasn't resulting in actual sales. It also started the pointless console wars. Thanks for that. So, at this point in time, Hayao Nakayama, someone who ends up, would actually be in charge of Sega until their failed merger with Bandai in '97, he decided, we need a mascot. Now, several people are like, dude, we already have a mascot. And he's like, yeah, and they all suck. If you remember, they actually were 3 attempts at a mascot before this point in time. And he's like, they all suck. We need a mascot. He had just seen Super Mario Brothers 3. And he was like, and by the way, for those of you who don't know, Super Mario Brothers 3 was the best-selling game up to that point in time, even back then. Like, it sold so fast and so hard, it crushed all the records. So he was like, yeah, we need that. We need Mario. We need Sega Mario. Okay, what do we do? So he goes to the board, and the board says, I don't see what the problem is with our strategy. Because if you're paying attention, almost all the games I just listed, and a whole bunch of the other ones I didn't, were all arcade games. Sega really got their start in the arcade, even more so than Nintendo did. And so all they've been doing is just slow-mode porting most of their games over to the system I don't remember the name of before the Genesis, and then the Genesis. And that was their strategy. Just we already have the games, just port them forward. It was nice and cheap. It made consistent money. And he's like, okay, if we're ever going to do anything here, if we're ever going to actually crack forward into this market, we're going to need to do something new. So, mascot. And this is important. The mascot has to appeal to those dirty, filthy, stinking American capitalistic pegs. There was a lot of anti-American bias amongst Sega of Japan, by the way. So, you're probably wondering, why were they so focused on selling it to the American audience? Actually, there's a very simple reason for that. The SNES hadn't come out in the States yet. So Genesis and Sega in general were essentially racing to try and release something to capture the US audience before Nintendo gets there. Okay. Hang on. Yeah, how do we Bart Simpson the video game mascot? So yeah, this is where the tood comes from. It's funny you say that, Rex. That's literally my next line in my notes here. This very much follows something I've actually reported on several times because it's a known phenomenon of the mid-'80s to about the mid-'90s. Most people remember the '90s for the tood, the edge, but actually if you pay attention historically, it's like '86 to like '97-ish, somewhere around this range, where there was just a whole lot of, we've got to have the edgier, darkier, grittier versions of existing stuff, right? And this was everywhere. This was in comics, it was in films, it was in books, it was all over the place. It was in video games. And so they wanted the edgier, hipper version of Mario, who in Japanese audiences was seen as like old and out of date. Since remember, Mario's big shtick is that he's an everyman. Yeah, he's just a plumber, right? Yeah, we need Quack Pack, yeah! So we gotta have the tood. This is also when they started realizing that they were having other issues, which I'm actually going to circle back to, but just remember, they had tech issues with even making this thing happen at all. But they needed a design. So they're trying to solve tech issues, for a reason I'll get to in a minute. They're trying to solve design issues. Okay, thus was born the new mascot of Sega. A rabbit. What's funny, every account I have read indicates that this stupid rabbit was so well liked that everyone was basically ready to completely green stamp it. The problem was they couldn't figure out the tech issues. They couldn't figure out how to properly render him and make all three parts of him properly prehensile simultaneously and controllable by the player. Remember, the Genesis controller, and I'm going to be nice about this, sucks balls. And so actually trying to control something like that with three buttons over here, and this is just, it's not feasible. So they shelved it. Like, okay, we'll come back to that. I don't know with total certainty that this led to Rystar, but it probably led to Rystar. Because they did shelve that. They all liked it. They all wanted that idea. Okay, fine, what do we do? I've got it. A hedgehog? And they're like, what? A hedgehog? Yeah, a hedgehog. Okay, why a hedgehog? Well, it's actually a very, very banal reason. It's because he can roll up into a ball. One of the tech issues, I'm going to keep bringing up tech issues because it's actually relevant to the literal artistic design of Sonic. One of the biggest tech issues they kept running into is rendering something that quickly. And so turning him into the ball and just spinning him was tremendously easier on the hardware than actually trying to do full run cycles while maintaining the collision of just his feet as he's going around stuff. Turning him to a ball, changing his collision marker to that, and then doing this, it was just so much easier programming-wise. So they needed something that was going to ball up. Okay, Hedgehog, cool. All right, we did it. We did it. We've got a tech demo that has made it so we can render this thing, and it can. It did this brand new thing. It actually was able to move a sprite on a curve by using something called subpixels. This is a real thing, by the way. To excessively summarize, subpixels are effectively a rounding error in programming, and I mostly know about them from speedruns because speedruns use them and abuse them constantly. I'm not even going to go into. There's a lot of specific trivia I'm going to skip over here. Feel free to share it. But I'm going to skip over a lot of it because this is Sonic. There's a lot of trivia here. By the way, how many of you were first introduced to Sonic via that comic where he was a brown hedgehog who had these just plain old sneakers and was helping Dr. Kittenburr in order to test his machine, but all the rings exploded everywhere. Oh no! And Kittenburr was suffused with all the evil of the machine and became Robotnik. Yeah, that was my introduction to Sonic. It was interesting. Caught my attention, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't have a Genesis, so whatever. And remember, my mother was extremely anti-video games, so getting a Genesis wasn't happening. I was lucky to have a SNES. So he's going to be a hedgehog. All right, well, how do we make this happen? Okay, well, we've got to precisely design him a little bit. And they went through a lot of iterations, but they decided on two big things. First, they wanted the blue to match exactly the Sega blue, the logo that Sega themselves has, which is this one thing. She's religious, Seth. But the second thing they wanted is they wanted to make something pop about him, hence the red. So he went ahead and had like the red shoes, which was it was a whole other thing. They went through this, right? Sonic finally came out, though. It's okay. It's okay. Sonic finally came out in his debut video game, Rad Mobile. This is the only trivia I'm really going to bother to share with you because I'm actually proud of even finding this one out. I even bothered to get you a picture. Naturally, I'm having trouble showing it to you right now because I'm an idiot. There it is. So it's kind of small. But yeah, here it is. Check it out. You see Sonic there? Because he's on the screen. He's the dangling keychain up top. This is not a joke. This is actually his very, very first appearance in a video game. Because they were still working on Sonic 1. Why are they still working on Sonic 1? I'll come back to that in just a second. So yeah, this is the beginning of Sonic, by the way. So it's also one of the little fun fact. Sega of America really hated the Sonic design. I'll come back to that in a second. I just want you to remember that because there was so much pushback between Sega of Japan and Sega of America. And remember, this is supposed to appeal to the American audience, and Sega of America's like, nobody's going to like this. We'll come back to that. Anyway, so Sonic sold extremely well. It was actually a console mover for the Genesis almost immediately. This would set a trend for several Sega consoles. Speaking of which, just really quick, let's just say this. I have gone down the rabbit hole on Sega hardware before. It is a hilarious and honestly terrible story. Pretty much everything after the Genesis was just this non-stop spiral of failure when it comes to Sega's hardware. No, it was. I'm sorry. The Dreamcast was fine for what it was, and the Saturn was fine for what it was, but that didn't stop them from being colossal failures. Like, it's just, wow. And so it's a whole other story. And it is a fascinating tale, but let's focus right here. So that we finally have our hardware mover, which is Sonic. Woo! Okay, cool. So we got Sonic 1. Awesome. I suppose now is as good a time as any to mention Yuki Naka. Now, I want to know, anybody in chat, because I'm sure there's at least a couple out there who like Sonic. This is a little loud. I don't have chill Sonic music, do I? Is there such a thing as chill Sonic music? Okay. Yeah, no, exactly, Ross. Good consoles still fail. I love the Wii U for what it is. It's still a failure. Very good, Takota. That's it. Wait, no, I'm sorry. This is Planet Wisp. My bad. Never mind. Ignore me. I was playing Tropical earlier. Oh, God, I'm just out of it. I apologize. So, yeah, Yuki Naka. Let's talk about Yuki Naka for a second. I want to know what your knee-jerk reaction was to him, because what the crap? He's one of the creators of the Sonic series. The prototype tech demo I mentioned earlier was actually made by him. And he contributed to Sonic 1, Sonic 2, a couple other games. And I should probably mention, everyone who has ever worked with this guy has called him various things. He is apparently incredibly xenophobic towards anybody who isn't Japanese. And he is also apparently a colossally pompous ass. Oh yeah, he's the big guy behind Balan Wonderworld. Which, if you're not familiar with that game, is a game we're going to have to review someday because it might challenge the bottom 5. Oh, he's literally also a criminal. No, I don't use that word lightly. I, unlike most people, understand the difference between accused of and convicted of, and the gigantic gap in between these two facts. He was not accused of crimes, he was convicted of crimes and went to freaking prison over it. Mostly insider trading, but there's a few other things there. So, cute guy. To completely contrast that asshole, I want to mention Hirokazu Yasuhara. Much cooler dude. He is the level designer, and he actually stared at a lot of the game design stuff that had been, frankly, invented in the Mario series, and was like, dude, that, but faster. And he actually thought about it. He thought about what faster would mean for arcs and jump angles, all kinds of cool stuff like that. So he is the primary level designer between Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic 3D Blast, Sonic R, Jak 2, Jak 3, Jak X, and, this is true, Uncharted 1. I didn't know that one. That's something I found out today. Yeah, he's pretty legit. He is pretty legit. No, he's got a resume. A few other fun factoids. The name Sonic was chosen because speed. The whole focus was speed. Several of the developers mentioned several times that the whole idea was Mario games are fun, but I want to play them faster, right? I want to beat the levels faster. Why can't we beat the levels faster? Sidebar, I wonder if anybody who ever said that has ever seen a speedrunner play a Mario game. Anyways, so they're like, okay, we got to get Sonic, we got to get him fast. I'll talk more about that in just a second. But really quick, they came up with this Sonic character, and I kind of skipped over this part. When they released him to Sega of America, he had fangs, a human girlfriend. I'll let that sit there for just a second. He was also in a rock band. So that's right, Sonic 06 really was a return to the roots, right? It was a return to the origins of Sonic. Yeah, Madonna. We need slow runs for some. Actually, isn't there like a don't use the run button challenge for Sonic? I know there's don't use the jump button, which that's a real challenge for Sonic games. You should look it up. It's actually shocking the stuff you have to do to make that work. Anyways, I guess that's true. There's no run button in Sonic. There's just jump. That's it. That's it. Don't move right. I'm sorry. That's what I was thinking of. God, I am just off my ball today. I apologize. It's like the third thing I've gotten wrong today. And by today, I mean this shift. Yeah, there's also one button press where there's all kinds of weird, wild things people have come up with in the last 40 years. So I mentioned they wanted him fast. I mentioned they wanted it. They wanted the game to be very, very simple and easy to pick up. They wanted a mirror of Mario. That was the whole thing they wanted. That was the whole idea. Hang on, this isn't the song I wanted. There it is. Because Mario is... Okay, this is going to sound strange, but I will actually credit Nintendo of America this. Did I just say Nintendo of America? I would credit Sega of America this. We're up to 5 things I've said wrong now. We talk about barriers to entry, right? So... most of us, the people listening to me saying this right now, both on the VOD and live, you probably don't think of barriers to entry like they actually exist. I don't mean that as an insult. What I mean is, you probably think, oh man, I hit this one particular boss, and this boss sucks. I'm going to put this game down. Or I hit this story beat that's absolutely terrible, and put this game down. You have to understand that if you count all human beings who exist on planet Earth, which is what this is doing, the barriers to entry are wild to consider. One of the reasons Mario, this is true, one of the reasons Mario has had such a long-standing influence is because he's a plumber who jumps. There is more depth than that. There's a whole lot more depth than that. But the baseline, right? Step 1 is, what's this game about? It's about a plumber who jumps. Okay. It is so supremely simple on purpose. So, Nintendo of America, I keep saying that, Sega of America was like, we need to break it down to that, right? We need something supremely simple so there's almost no barrier to entry for getting on board with the premise. Hence, a hedgehog who runs. And this is why the original controller was incredibly simple. And why it would take a little bit more while for them to actually add some depth and complexity to mechanics. You get it. The same general concept that would happen with the Mario series. What I find funniest is I've been studying the design concepts and the mentality and the design and everything else going into Sonic 1. And it's all so familiar because I've read all this before. Because I've already done my due diligence history on Super Mario Bros. 1, which predates this by about a decade. No dig, it's just funny that they were essentially reinventing or rediscovering, might be a better way to put that, all of the stuff that the core Nintendo team had also discovered in the 80s. And like, we need this, and it needs to be this, and it needs to be this. It's just copy-paste. It's fascinating. Parallel history, you know? Anyways, one last little asterisk I want to mention here. Sonic 1's speed was originally designed to be exactly as fast as Mario's run speed was, to emphasize that whole running thing. It was so much faster. So when they started speeding that up, they started having rendering issues everywhere. Like, the hardware was absolutely, completely failing at keeping up with it. They were having artifacting issues, they were having stuttering issues, input frame issues, animations weren't playing. Like, the hardware could not keep up. So they had to kind of redesign the core code and the way that the way that the hardware renders sprites in order to have it keep up with the speed, which I find absolutely hysterical, considering how much slower Sonic 1 is than other games that would also run on this exact same system. One last comment before I move on. Sonic 1 was originally going to have two-player co-op. If that sounds familiar, congrats, you have played Sonic 2. Remember, I'm pretty familiar with that because me and my friend used to play that. You're probably thinking, well, why did they not do it since they wanted it so badly? Well, two reasons. One is they were having some very serious tech hurdles with actually making that happen. Remember, they're still trying to make the game render. Never mind having a second playable controller at the same time, with a second character running on the screen at the same time. So they were having issues, but also they had a really hard deadline. And this is the big thing right here. I don't want to diminish Sonic the Hedgehog 1. I really don't. But let's be very clear about this. The reason this game took off was because it came out before the SNES did. By 2 months. It came out in June, and the SNES came out in August. And pretty much every economic metric I've ever seen agrees with this same concept. They got so much of that initial push because they were desperately trying to beat the SNES to market, to the US market, obviously. All of this is in the US. It was a completely different story over in Japan. But they were desperately trying to get to the market, in the state market, before the SNES came out. And they made it. It's kind of squeezed into the line, but they made it. And honestly good, because there's a non-zero chance the Sonic series might have, at the very least, flopped. Or, not made the returns that they wanted if they hadn't gotten in there before Super Mario World just kind of destroyed everything, right? In fact, hang on, let me look something up real quick here. Because, 91 on the SNES, yeah, so we have, hang on. Yeah, exactly! Sonic 1 landing after Mario World is just not, I don't want to disparage Sonic 1, but it's not going to hit the same. It is not going to land the same. Here we go. So, sorry, I meant to look this up. So, yeah, look at this for a second, right? So, their immediate competition was Super Mario World, F-Zero, Gradius 3, Pilot Wing, SimCity, Populous, Super Bases Loaded, Draken, Super R-Type, UN Squadron, I forgot that was that early, Hyperzone, Chessmaster, Paperboy 2. ActRaiser. Oh, I always forget that's that early. Final Fight. Oh, yeah, and Final Fantasy IV. That's another one that was super duper early on the SNES in the States. So, oh yeah, Super Castlevania. It was just a few months later, while we're on the subject. Ys 3, Joe and Mac, Legend of the Mystical Ninja, Super Smash. Look at all that. And I was actually looking for LTTP because I was curious how many months later it was. There it is. Less than a year. So that would have been 10 months. 10 months before LTTP. That's a decent chunk. Yeah, Super Metroid was 94. Actually, yeah, Hardboiled one. Another good example of that. Anyways, sorry. Anecdotes and behind the scenes aside, let's go ahead and play a game that I barely have any familiarity with, shall we? I anticipate it will score extremely well, and nobody will feel the need to tar and feather me. Could you at least guillotine me? Make it quick. That's all I'm asking. Alright. Oh, shoot! There's a donation in the middle there. No! Okay, pause! Hit the stream brakes. Hit the stream brakes. Someone donated while I was talking. A very common thing. Next. There we go. Look, bullets fine. Just shoot me. Just shoot me. Just shoot me. I mean, you don't got to sell me on anything. I'm not a big fan of Mega Man 1 or Mario 1 or Zelda 1 or Final Fantasy 1. As I've said before, you got to work at it to find a first game, a first game of a franchise I love that I actually like. Okay, so that's going towards Final Fantasy 12. Master Blaster 0, I assume. It's Master Blaster is on the NES and unrelated. And then we're going to pause for a second. And Sonic 3 is garbage. It's garbage. Yeah, no, that's the good question. Will Sonic 1 score better than Mario 1? That's a very good question. Hang on, 1 second, 1 second. Uh, I didn't intend to go without music this long, but then Surging Phoenix hit me across the... So here's the thing, Surging Phoenix. Metal Gear Solid 5 is not on the list. If you would like to add it to the list, I will allow it. But you can only add that. Like, that's the option. You can add that one game. It is up to you. As far as Mario 1... Oh. Okay, Skies of Arcadia I can do instead. Alright, so Super Mario Bros. 1 scored... Wait, is it literally on the list? Is it really? Oh, it's acronymed. There it is. Never mind. Okay, ignore me, ignore me. I'm dumb. Why is that? I'm going to fix that right now. I'm going to de-acronym that right now. I just keep screwing up everything. Metal Gear Solid 5. There. It'll score better than Shantae 1. There's another good example of a first game in a franchise that I like, and the first game sucks. Metal Gear Solid 5. There we go. Okay. Jesus Christ. This is just not my day. Anyway, Super Mario Bros. 1, right? Let's look at this review. Here we go. Here we go. Let's look at this. Okay, so story positives, null. Story negatives, null. Gameplay positives, 7. Gameplay negatives, 8. That is a net golden number of negative 1.55. It is one of the closest to 0 games we've had ever. And it's pretty linear. The first several levels are actually quite good. And then level 8 and onwards is terrible. I know what you're thinking. Level 8 and onwards, it's just World 8. What are you talking about? Yeah. Have you played World 8 recently? Because I have. What the heck? It's okay. Radiata Stories. What the hell is Radiata Stories? I've never even heard of this. It's a Tri-Ace game, apparently. I've never even heard of this. It did come out in the States. Yeah, Oracle of Seasons 1. No, that's 3 games people want to add to the list today, and I haven't heard of any of them, so I'm like, dumb. Radiata Stories. Here we go. There we go. Radiata Stories. Oh, okay. I do appear to have a very legal copy of it. So, sure. Why not? Done. And thank you. Very, very much. Silly idea. Just tell me on Discord what they are. 10x count. Not right now. Let's actually play some Sonic. Well, I would like to play at least a little bit of Sonic the Hedgehog today. Oh yeah, I should talk about this. So, you're probably wondering why we're playing Sonic. God, it's a mute. It's a mute game. So you're probably wondering why we're playing Sonic Origins today instead of the original, which I do have access to the original. And the answer boils down to Sonic 3. Like, I'm not even joking. That's really, like, the summary of the problem here. That's the main issue. But also, as much as I value historical relevance and actually just playing the original copy of stuff, I want to kind of play the version that you're probably going to play if you're going to pick up Sonic right now. Like, if you want to play Sonic the Hedgehog right now, this is kind of it. Unless you have a Switch. Actually, no, that's not true. Sonic 1 is not on the Switch, is it? Only Sonic 2 was on the Switch. Never mind. If you want to play Sonic 1, this is kind of it. It's the one that's most available. And yeah, we'll be playing Classic mode, by the way. I think. But the other problem is I wanted some degree of consistency. Especially since streaming Genesis games is actually kind of a pain. It's not as much of a pain as, say, N64 games or Wii games, but it's still kind of a pain. So I figured, screw it. We're just going to do Sonic 1 and CD and 2 and 3 all here. Because, duh, essentially. Like, this just makes all of this so much smoother to just play all of these games right here. So, what is Anniversary Mode? I used to know the answer to that question, but then I've gotten everything else wrong today. And I didn't even take notes about it. I actually did my due diligence on this when this game was added to the list. And then Rax was like, please don't play Sonic right now. Please delay the run. And that was like 3 months ago, and I've forgotten everything. So what the hell does Anniversary Mode do? And then it was all wrong! It was all wrong! Everything I said was wrong. I saw the 16:9 thing. It's right there. And Limited Lives is nice. Adds the spin dash, more short cutscenes. Alt-Tab mutes the game, of course. Why wouldn't it? You gotta mute the game. It's very important to mute the games. Why would you not mute the games? Don't be ridiculous. Oh yeah, no speed cap. I knew there was something else. Hang on one second. I'm jotting down something else really quick. Because I actually do have a note about this. Just gotta find it. Sorry, give me 1 second, please. Okay. But yeah, no, this is, oh yeah, that's another fun thing. No, I'll play Classic. I'll play Classic. I have no idea if there's save states. It'll be wonderful. I look forward... God, I hate that it mutes. I hate that it mutes. I look forward to dying horribly. 1 second. So if I go look up Sonic the Hedgehog right now on Steam, I come up with Sonic X Shadow Generations, Sonic Frontiers, Sonic Origins, this one, Sonic Adventure, Sonic Mania, the Generation, Sonic Generation, Sonic Superstars, Sonic Adventure, the other one. And that's kind of it. So let's try something else here. Nothing at all for Genesis. If I just type in Genesis. No, that's what I'm getting at. So I'm making a point, but I'm double checking myself because I've been wrong about everything today. Let's see here. What's this? Nope. Nothing for Sega. Okay, let's try Mega Drive. Yeah, no, so I was almost positive I was right. It looks like I am right, and that sucks. So they had an official emulator on Steam, and you could buy like individual games for, I want to say, like $2, right? Which is great. I actually have that emulator and the games that it came with initially, and I hadn't bought other games yet, but that was going to be my method for streaming Genesis games going forward, right? Like, that was the path, and it's freaking gone. So I don't have all the Sonic games because I didn't buy them yet. I never actually got around to that. And I can't buy them now. They are delisted. So, to repeat my earlier point, if you want to play Sonic 1... Yeah, can we stop killing games, please? So, we will play Classic Mode, but interestingly enough, because this is the version of the game we're playing, this being the version of the game we're playing counts, good and bad. I think the addition of Anniversary Mode is worthy of a positive. It's an extra little fun mode, which doesn't change much, but it's something. It is single positive worthy, right? It's the same reason we gave save state positives to Mega Man 1 through 6, if you remember that. I know, Seth. So, infinite lives, different screen resolution. What was the other? I've already forgotten. Oh, right. Story cutscenes. Spin dash. I really thought there was one more thing. I guess that's it. Alright, whatever. Either way, like, oh, I'm sorry. This is important. Also, this is an optional mode, and you can still play Classic. There we go. That is what really codifies that positive. Wah! Okay. Nope, 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 nope. Ugh. Wish me luck. Is this a good time to mention I've never liked Genesis music? There have been individual Genesis songs that I've liked over the years, but something about the way that they generate the music just does not work for me. The songs themselves, like the music, the notes, the composition, tends to be really good stuff. There's a reason Sonic games are known for their frickin' soundtracks, right? But yeah, no, exactly. That's kind of what I'm getting at, Rex. It's actually a very similar problem that the SNES has. The really good SNES games will do their own programming and engineering for a proper sound engine to render the music differently and just make awesome, awesome music. And then there's the other SNES games. Forgive me for pointing out this weird little thing, but I bring it up because back when the console wars were actually still going between SNES and Genesis, is one of those things where I'm just like, why do you prefer this music? And they're like, dude, it's got blast process. It's so great. And I'm like, and I happen to have my mini recorder on, and I played some FF4 music for them. And I'm like, listen to this. And they're like, well, that's just junk. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I just walk away at that point. So yeah, solo save stuff. All right, so yeah, I know that now Pillars of Snow. As a 10-year-old, I don't know. I do like that brickwork for what it's worth. Fun actual factoid. The checkerboard look that kind of became an iconic Sonic thing was deliberately done to emulate a lot of Japanese computers at the time. And yeah, I'm kind of taking my time because we have a timer that ticks up instead of down. There is a time limit, and if we just sit around, we'll die, but you know. So, this is going to sound like I'm repeating myself, but similar to 1-1 from Super Mario Bros., what we have at the very beginning is a completely safe screen where we start towards the left and are facing the right. So, everything about this indicates you are supposed to go right. Okay, same general quality that they get back in, again, 1-1 of Super Mario 1. You'll also notice that the environment here is very safe feeling. We've got clouds in the sky. It's a blue, sunny day. We've got these kind of geometric trees. There's a bunch of foliage in the background. There's flowers bumping around. There's greenery. Safe. But the one thing, and I didn't put this out quick enough, forgive me, is our rings was flashing red because we had 0. So even if you understand nothing about what you're looking at, you can immediately tell rings 0 bad. You go forward very little space, and the very first thing you can interact with is something you can jump up to. Boom. And on the Genesis, pretty much any button you hit is going to jump, because again, you didn't have a lot of controls in Sonic 1. So you jump, you get up here, you get rings, the flashing goes away. Okay. So now we understand what our health bar is, or at least we will if we ever get hit, but you get the point. We understand that ring's good, we understand what jumping is, and then right after this was our first enemy, which I've already taken out. Now, considering we have exactly one thing in our arsenal, it is not particularly out of bounds to presume that a player would be able to figure out, oh, I need to jump on this. When we do, a little animal pops out and bounces away to safety. Again, no dialogue. So all of this conveys a lot of tutorialization in the space of about 2 screens. 2.5 screens, really. This is how you move, this is how you jump, this is how you live, this is how you attack. All 4 of those points are conveyed very, very quickly here. Yeah, it is 1-1, and is brilliant for all the reasons 1-1 is brilliant. It really does do all the same beats, it just does them in slightly different ways. It's good. It is good stuff. I mean, there's a reason I have praised 1-1 for years at this point. Let me pull up a thing here really quick, because I'm if it's not obvious, I'm going to be kind of cross-referencing this to my Mario 1 review a couple of times, because I've been saving that particular audit for this run. Anyways. Got this. Okay, so I gotta at least have a pause feature. Alright, so the lore comparison. Is there a way to, like... No, of course there's... Alright, whatever. As for why rings, So, okay. Everything about this sequence is also pretty smart. So, forgive me for constantly pausing, but I don't want to run out the timer. I'm already a quarter away from my time. Like 3 things. So the first thing we encounter is a slope upwards. Now, I know that sounds like, duh, but you have to understand that those kind of sloped surfaces were pretty unusual at this point in time. Even Super Mario World, which came out around the same time as this game, tended to not use sloped surfaces unless it was like a specific gimmick. No, actually picture Super Mario World for a second in your head. Oh yeah, Castlevania 4 is another perfect example. Castlevania 4 and Super Mario World had like a specific interaction with a slope. Like in Mario World, you slide down the slope and it goes whoosh, and in Castlevania 4, and also 2 and other Castlevania. But you get the idea. Castlevania, you get on the thing and you go So the very concept of having this kind of a slope is being conveyed to us immediately, and I will freely admit that I know people who looked at these slopes and was blown away by the fact that there were slopes. I know, I'm just sounding like an old man at this point, but you gotta understand, this was pretty new. This was a thing to differentiate it. And I want to point that part out. Whether it's good, bad, or in between, especially, you know, from a modern perspective, is kind of irrelevant, because, yeah, the whole selling point was to differentiate it from the Marios, because they were looking at Mario as the direct competitor. Yeah, Mario 3 came out before this, to put this in a bit of perspective, and is arguably a much better game and a much more innovative game. But the point is, that was what they were looking at as their direct competitor. How do we fight Mario 3? And their answer was kind of innovative. They answered by not trying to fight Mario 3. They tried to do their own thing. This is something I've talked about a lot. Mega Man, Mario, Sonic. All 3 of these are 2D platformers, but all of them play very, very differently because the style of the 2D platforming is substantially different. So, enemy to avoid, nothing too big there, but notice the bridge. All of this is just little cute stuff to try to get the player into the mode. And notice the ground here, by the way. It's not flat. I actually noticed this earlier too, but this is probably a better showcasing of it. and then we slope up here. On the off chance you somehow didn't notice, and I deliberately let go here because you actually have to hold right all the way through. And if you, hang on, let me actually demonstrate properly. So start down here and I go, whoop, can't make it. Literally can't make it. There is a degree of slope physics interacting against us here. We need momentum. And this is probably the lesson of Sonic 1 right here. You need momentum. So, a couple more basic platforming challenges here. No, Mr. Red. Notice that this section now that we've been introduced to our basics, is far more enemy-heavy than the section we just did. You are inclined to fall there. Don't necessarily have to. We're going to go ahead and fall here, because I want to show off a little bit of that. And, okay, so that's what happens when you get hit. All your rings go away, but, and this is another interesting distinguishing point here, you don't lose all your rings. I'm going to go ahead and jot that down for a mechanic. Actually, a penalty for failure is what that mechanic is called. In most Sonic games, I do believe it varies from individual Sonic game to individual Sonic game, so I'm going to be paying attention to go. But in most Sonic games, you get hit, you lose your rings, and the rings are still there to be recaptured. You have lost your health, but you can grab the health back. And as weird as it sounds, you only really need one ring. Insert Lord of the Rings joke here. So as long as you can at least get one ring back, you still have health. You'll also notice this is in complete contrast to, once again, Mario's penalty for failure system. There are functionally two penalty for failures in Mario. The pits, which this game also has, by the way. We just haven't interacted with it yet. And, so yeah, instant death stuff, that's whatever. But also, the health. In Mario 1, you had one health, ever. No matter what it was, you only ever had the one, two health. I should speak more clearly. In other words, you can only ever have one buffer of health. In later Mario games, you could go up to 2 buffers, and in some cases, if you're really fairly daring, 3 buffers. But for the most part, you get hit, you get downgraded, and if you downgrade all the way down to small, you die. And that's it. Your power-up is gone. Exactly. Sonic's kit is baked into the coins that you're going to be picking up throughout the level. It automatically makes rings valuable outside of just being a cool thing that you collect. Rings, question mark, and also need to do sound for obvious reasons. Actually, I think that's under... hang on one second. Let me cross-reference Donkey Kong for just a second. Why is my sight slower lately? Banana. Sorry. That's what I thought. It is under sound. Or it's under sound. Sound design positives are under sound. I don't know if you knew that. Story. It's under story. I'm sorry. I'm fighting a headache. I don't know what's going on with me today. I'm dumb. Ignore me. I'm getting there, Rex. I'm getting there. I swear. So, because a lot of things I'm really trying to do here is I'm trying to convey how much this was trying so hard to distinguish itself. If I could use a more modern comparison, this is Guild Wars 2. And for those of you who aren't familiar with that or didn't watch me cover that, because I have, oh, that sucks to put it. Most MMOs that came out in a post-WoW world flopped or bombed, depending. And that's because an inordinate number of them, even almost immediately after WoW came out, were like, oh yeah, we're going to be the WoW killer. They were the WoW killer. They were never the WoW killer. Nothing was the WoW killer except for WoW, and even that didn't stick. So, for a while there we go. For a while there's this whole thing of like, okay, so like, how do we compete with WoW? And the answer is actually really simple. You don't. you do not actually try to compete with WoW. Doing so is pointless and foolish, right? So instead, they tried to do something else entirely, and that's Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 got its foot in the door by virtue of being its own thing. Same thing with Sonic. The fact that they're distinguishing themselves so much here is part of what I'm trying to really praise. Speaking of which, I'm going to put this under core mechanic. Top and bottom. Now, I know this isn't universal across it, but I know it's a thing in Sonic 1, and sorry. I know it's a thing in Sonic 2, and I believe it's a thing in Sonic 1. Top and bottom is the normal path. You want to stay top because top is generally going to be faster, and bottom is going to involve more threats and more dangers and more platforming, more risk, more possibility of death. However, there's also often more stuff down below. It varies. It varies from stage to stage. It varies from level to level. It varies from game to game. But there's always that idea of going high or going low. And some players I know actually specifically prefer going low or going high, either on a per level basis or just in general, because that's just their preference. That's the thing that they like. It's a friend of mine who is much, much more into Sonic fans, Sonic games, who actually talked about this game, told me that amongst their particular challenge running community, most people, this is grain of salt and third-person information, most people who want to go fast tend to go top, and most people who want to platform tend to go bottom. And yeah, it's also easy. If you fall, it's generally much harder to get back up. That's another valid point. And I also know that in later Sonic games, there's more than just the two paths. Even amongst the Sonic games I've played, the top-bottom thing tends to be true, although I've noticed some of the ones I'm more familiar with, like Unleashed and Colors, don't lean into that nearly as much. Probably because they did another form of the top-bottom, Night Stages Unleashed. Anyways, moving on. Whoop. Oh yeah, more physics-iness. You jump on a ledge, you go in the direction of the ledge, which can be irritating. So, power up, power up, power up, and I'm invincible. That was strange. So what you just saw, I know I kind of ran through that. That's the money shot. You notice this is very carefully designed, so it's almost impossible to not do that section I just did. Zoop, 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 fling. That's your selling point right there. That's there to catch the audience. That's there to be like, oh my god, this ain't your grandma's platformer. Which was actually the push of the marketing at the time. Whoa, how did... Okay, whatever. I accept being hit. Yeah, I was saying, that's it. Ah! Oh, whatever. And there's our stage. That's solid. 1-1 is solid. Alright, time to do 1-2. So, we've apparently already missed a special stage. That sucks. Oh well. We have to show off a special stage at least once. I should mention I don't know where literally any of them are. I don't care about getting all the emeralds. Do not ask. I don't care. Hold 50 rings, hit goal. Oh. Okay. Got it. That's actually kind of funny. If I had, you know, that's actually really frustrating. If I hadn't hit that crab, I probably would have managed that. Whatever. Collision boxes, huh? Okay, so hang on. So, solid level, solid cool stuff. Alright. 1-2. 1-2. Let's do it. Alright, hang on. We gotta glitch ourselves out here. Okay, we're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it. Points if you even know what I was just referencing. Oh yeah, I should write down brick. There we go. Sorry. Look, the game mutes when I'll tab anyways, right? I don't actually know, Diligent Dodo. But I bet you that Frieza knows. Frieza knows everything. No. Oh, Jesus. Oh yeah, mid-mission checkpoints, by the way. Damn it. Come on. There we go, 50. Yeah, I can't see the rocks. See, I'd say something nice about myself, but then I would guaranteed curse myself to immediately screw up, so I'm just gonna stay shut up for the moment. No! 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 You stupid! God damn it! Ah! This is another interesting thing, though. You may or may not have noticed, we reset rings every stage. That's a choice. I get why they do it. There's some specific reasons for it. It is a bit questionable, though. So here's our very first gotcha in the game. I knew it was coming. Yeah, Mario doesn't reset coins. And hey, check it out. Or we can just bypass it. No, it's an interesting give and take. You always start off with no health, but also, you know, you can get health relatively quickly and easily, and you can get health back without requiring to go and find a mushroom. Once again, I'm not trying to say it's better or worse, just different. I'm paranoid now. Oh no, it's a boss fight, isn't it? No! Well, it's okay. If there's one thing that Sonic 1 does really badly, it's boss fights. This is the boss. This is the boss. This is it. Those of you who have weak hearts, you may want to bow out of these. Oh yeah, by the way, Sonic games absolutely do not believe in the rule of 3. Allow me to disagree with that. Rule of 8. Yeah, Mario bosses wouldn't get good until Galaxy, I'd say, honestly. So, let me jot down some notes very quickly here. Marble 1. Yeah, this is great. You know what? I'll actually give you that, Kitten Fan. I think that's like the curve towards Galaxy, because by the time we got to Galaxy, like I think Galaxy legitimately has good boss design, right? Like has really cool bosses. Sunshine had a few decent bosses, right? Like it's like an incline in quality, right? Um, and yeah, Sunshine Syndrome. Speaking of, all right, I want to write down one other thing. What was it? Ah, God damn it! I haven't done it. Here, let me just kill the bot really quick. But yeah, Green Hill Zone, I actually enjoyed quite a bit. No, seriously, I do. Hey, Arcanville. So that's actually a very good question. And it's something that I have run into many times. I've actually talked about this before because I've never liked the classic Sonic type games, with pretty much the sole exception of Sonic 2, because it always feels like I have no idea where I'm going. I feel blind, especially at the speeds you can get in these games. And so I feel like it's more of a memorization slash redo the stage over and over check. Now, people who tell me that I'm a moron have told me that that's the point, and I should just go ahead and replay the levels over and over. But it's never been a preference of mine as a direct consequence. Here we go. Sorry, one moment here. I can most directly speak to Sonic Mania, which I know is like the beloved darling game of the franchise. There we go. Because I just didn't get it. I didn't even beat it. I own the game. I've owned the game since it came out. I never beat it because I was just kind of like, Never worked for me. I like the music. It's cool. Nah, I wouldn't change its active. Okay, that's a jump arc. There's this interesting thing where your momentum is weird. That's something that probably shouldn't have happened. No thoughts, Octaft. Okay, temporary platforms. I'm with it. I'm with it. I love a good temporary platform. No, yeah, that's the exact thing I constantly hear at Blizzard's Nose, that the problem was with me, and I should just go memorize the stages and stop being a scrub. This is... okay. I also love spike traps that you don't really have any way of telling are there. This is actually some nice tutorialization. I'll give you that. They even make sure they're the same color. Headbang a second here. I wouldn't say he was a good guy in the Civil War either. Good afternoon, Eva. Are you ready for classic? Oh, Jesus Christ. You know what, Evo? I bet this looks familiar to you with some of the platformers you played back in the day. I don't think I should have lived through that, honestly. This is a good time, as I mentioned, the controls kind of suck. I'm not trying to be negative. It's hard to even put it into words. And I don't know if it's an issue with the game or with the Origins version. But the controls are... like Mario? If he had springboards on his feet. No, no, no. It's like you start to move, and then you do move, but like you launch, but only sometimes. Like, you notice I'm trying to do these precise jumps. You may or may not have noticed that almost every single jump has been a different angle of how far I've been jumping. That is not by design on my part. That's just something that's happening. Well, if I hadn't gotten hit there, I would have been good. I'm not going to get any special stage, am I? Well, what's funny is I've encountered this exact mechanism of controls before. Many times. But I'll name 2 examples right off the top of my head, and I hope at least someone out there understands what I'm talking about. The first is Sonic Colors. So, Sonic Colors... I like Sonic Colors for what it's worth. It's actually probably my favorite Sonic game as of this moment in time. We'll see if that's true in a few weeks or months or however long it takes. But Sonic Colors kind of sucks when you have to slow down. When you're zipping through and you're doing your thing, and you're bouncing, and you're using the special things, spear! Yeah, that's awesome, right? And then you have to slow down to do a particular platforming section. And it's just, the controls feel like they're trying to push you to go faster, and you can't. And so it's like the inverse of Mario. I just realized that. Because Mario has the squiggity, right? Mario has the slow start to get moving, and then the slow stop. Instead, this is more like... It's like the inverse arc there of speed. It's very strange. But I don't want to use a Sonic game to explain this, because I can use another game to explain this. It's called Spider-Man. How many of you played Spider-Man on the PS4 or PC? The relatively recent one. The first. I haven't played the other ones, but I'm assuming they all have this issue. Because there are several games like that, especially third-party game, or third-person camera games, where you are clearly intended to be moving at a certain pace, and whenever you aren't, the controls get wrong. If you're trying to do very precise climbing on a wall in that game, it's wrong, right? Most of you probably know exactly what I'm talking about if you've played that game, because if you're going full speed, it's like, yeah, it controls like a dream. Like, I'm going to swish over here, and I'm going to swing over here, and run on the wall, and then get down here, and jump up here, and punch this guy, and go over here. And then it was like, wait, I missed something. Turn around. No, turn around. Okay, just tap. Okay. Like, it's like the engine doesn't know how to handle you not going quickly, is how I would describe it. So, that. Actually, I haven't played Spider-Man on the Dreamcast. And yes, I do understand that the slope is part of the idea here. Part of the problem, if you will. But that's not the only issue. In fact, if anything, I think what we're running into is multiple issues colliding with each other here. You're kidding! This... Okay. Something I didn't notice that there's literal gotcha in this stage, too. While you're on a timer, in some cases. So that's even more unkind. I don't know why I went for that. I do not know why I went for that. That's my first death. That's my fault. Damn it! Okay, that was extremely unintentional. Come back, come back! No! Why? 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 Okay, there. Yeah, this is Sonic 1. This is the first Sonic the Hedgehog game, and I believe the third game that he appears in. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I couldn't turn around in time. That's okay, we got a ring. We have a ring! Music's alright. I've already said my piece. I don't actually enjoy the sound font, but the music composition itself is really good. We have one life left now. I forget if that means we have one life or two. Yes, I know that sounds strange, but some games let you go down to 0 on the counter and some don't. Yeah, I made it to World 2 and then died. That's just a me thing, isn't it? Also, like, I have control in the air, but, and I don't have a nice way to put this, I feel like the physics affects me in the air. I say physics, you know what I mean, right? Like, there's code that's handling my horizontal momentum and my vertical momentum at all times, right? That's pretty normal for a game like this. That's how most old platformers did gravity, for example. They would have a standard variable that is always pulling everything that is an applicable object down at a steady pace, 1. And then when you jump, it actually cancels out your gravity. This is so frustrating. Based on that, right? And that's how you jump. That's how they would actually handle the jumps from a code perspective. Anyways, yeah, no, you get it though, right? The speed buildup is identical on ground and air. It feels like the physics are still affecting me, even though I'm in the air, which is unusual for some of these for games like this. And yeah, the reason I mentioned Evo's thing, there's a whole lot of platformers you've probably never heard of, is what I want to call them. Not in an elitist way, like just, I couldn't even name any of them off the top of my head. And you've probably never heard of them. And they're kind of like this section right here. Not the game as a whole, just the marble zone. Like, the physics are wrong, and there's instant death everywhere. You only get a few lives, and that's your lot. That's the whole game. Have fun. Jesus Christ. I feel like I remember Zool. I don't know if I played Claymates. Just make me think of Clay Fighters. No! Oh god, we need like 3 rings. Alright, let's risk it. Let's risk everything on our second to last life. We need to show off at least one special stage. This is it. This is also be a good test of the Ninja Gaiden problem. Come on, come on. Oh hey, a checkpoint. Okay, we made it. Now, I have to not get hit at all for the rest of the level. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know if you noticed that, but the upward incline there of the slope ate some of my momentum. I've never been more nervous playing a platformer in my entire life. This is truly hell. Oh, no, I'm not dealing with you. Nope. We're gonna slow-mo down the slope? Because I am not screwing around at this point. There we go. Ah, these stupid caterpillars. Ah! Oh, Jesus Christ. No, 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 no. I think I didn't hear you. Appreciate you giving me the sound there, but good lord. No, you probably noticed I've already been doing that, Diligent Dodo. See? Where is the end of this godforsaken level? Okay, we did it! We have succeeded! Alright, so who's... sorry, so flashing lights warning? Like visual death warning? Do not watch. God. You know, I like the idea of doing different little mini-game kind of things for these. This has got to be the worst. Just the worst. Right? Yeah, it's eye cancer. It's kind of hard to navigate. You actually, it's not very obvious, but you have very little ability to maneuver. Like, you can maneuver. No, no, no! Oh, okay. Well, that's... okay, yep. That was all for nothing. Got a life out of it, so that's something. Anyways. Yeah, no, the goal is bad. You get the Chaos Emeralds, which are secretly used to hold an eldritch entity from ancient past. The good news is, I don't think there's really a lot of tangible benefit to getting the Chaos Emeralds in this game. I'm pretty sure the writers of the series, such as they were, hadn't decided what the hell Chaos Emeralds were yet. Like, what? I hate to keep comparing this to Mario 1, but this is Bowser and the Koopas from Mario 1. Like, that's not who they are, right? Yeah, in the end... Sorry, I thought I heard something. The end changes. We will get the ending where Robotnik will be like, "Hey, I found the emerald, tee-hee-hee." Oh, and by the way, you will literally never hear me call him Eggman, just if you're wondering. He's been Robotnik for my entire exposure to him, and so shall he remain. Also, Eggman's a dumb name. Yeah, it's the try again ending. You know the type. You didn't get all the Swish Klargablargs. That was actually really common at this point in history. The SNES was rife with games where like, "Oh, you didn't get the Flagarbagees," while doing it on one life. Try again. Oh, that's a thing that happened. Huh. Yeah, this is just my life, or what's left of it. Yeah. Okay. Take two. Yeah, I thought it was going to turn on too, not just like slowly sink. As I say, Sonic 2 has some implications of a story, but it's pretty vague. Again, to continue the Mario path. Sonic 2 is kind of like Mario 3, I'd say. Maybe 2. Like, there's a narrative there, it's just not, like, focused. Which, amusingly, would make Sonic 3 and Knuckles the equivalent of Yoshi's Island. Look, I don't invite these comparisons. These comparisons invite themselves. Well, hang on, that's not true, Rex. I have it on good faith that Knuckles is actually in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. What's funny is I don't feel that way at all. Like, I haven't seen a lot of Knuckles, but every time I've seen him, he's been legit. Mostly in the TV shows. And, like, Sonic Adventure. Oh, and the movies. Although I still haven't seen 2 or 3. Oh, sure, that's cool. I'm just... okay. I'll just be over here, then. Sonic X. The edgiest of all Sonics to ever Sonic. Can we... how... okay, how am I going to make this jump? Nope. That's just... okay. Nope. Okay. How do I make this jump? This angle, this arc is wrong. Oh my god! Did you see me glitch through the ceiling? You saw that, right? I actually clipped. I actually clipped the ceiling to make that jump. Okay. Okay. Sure, game. Sure. Yeah, no notes. A couple negatives, but no notes. This is actually funny, because, yeah, we've basically already hit World 8, right? Like, that's just... oh, no. Ring. Oh, ring. Kaiser. Yeah, Spin Dash was added in 2? Question mark? Oh, no. Ring. There can't possibly be worse than Marble. Right? Right? This is another way they were differentiating themselves, by the way. Where most games, including, obviously, Mario, would call them worlds, or stages, or levels, it was always zones in Sonic. I don't know how much the comics, which I know are much more story-heavy than the games, go into that idea, but I've always liked the idea that they really do, in the universe, just call them zones. You know, instead of, like, countries, or continents, or islands, or whatever. Where are you going? I'm going home to the such-and-such zone. Oh, worth it, because I got one back. Oh my god. No! I didn't have enough time. No! Yeah! Hi. Where do you live? Final Zone? I mean, it's better than Scrap Brain Zone, right? Well, yeah, but, like, Unleashed had Greece, you know? Spain. Although they called it Spagonia. Oh my god, this stage. Is this over? Am I done? Also, I just noticed I'm running out of time. Ah! That is So, you son of a... You! Scat! Hang on, let me give some negatives really quick. No reason. I even have a term for that exact type of interaction. It's called a gotcha. If you wonder what a gotcha is, gotcha! In gameplay terms, it's something that you had no real capacity or ability to predict coming, and then punishes you for the fact that you didn't know it was there. Okay. Yeah, I have to clarify. It's gotcha as opposed to gotcha, even though they're pronounced virtually identically. Thanks, gotcha. Thanks, Japan. These things gotta ruin everything. Both suck. Although I'll take gotcha over gotcha any day. Mary Greenhill. I love gambling. Oh, yeah. Okay, where are we? Yeah, one's annoying. The other hurts people's lives. By the way, I just noticed that our time is reset to what time we were at when we got the checkpoint. Which I'm not going to call a complete dick feature, but it's like dick adjacent, you know? Oh, this again. Sure, I'll just do my buggy glitch jump again. Which I totally have the ability to do on command. So people asking if we'll beat this game today. I think you now have your answer. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have a save system. Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure Sonic 1 doesn't have a save system. Yes, I know there's a control code you can punch in to stage select. That doesn't really count. Yeah, this is a boss stage. So that's a blessing. Yeah, CD is next, I'm pretty sure. Someone type exclamation mark next, because it should be updated now. But I'm slightly less than confident. I'm gonna leave those rings, actually, in case I fall again. I don't care about special stages. I've already failed them miserably. I don't care that much. Well, the good news, Archeon Vale, there's a very good chance you will see live what happens when I fall out, when I run out of lives. Ooh. Oh, yeah, true, Frieza. That's a good question, Ben. Why did we put CD after this? Those of you in chat who know the answer to this amazing question. From the equally amazing Ben One Eye. It's probably a good time as any to go ahead and jot down a positive. There you go. CD is next. Done. There's your answer. Next question, Ben One Eye. Okay. Okay, sure, I'll accept that. Oh shoot, it went off screen. Whatever. No rings, no problems. Why is Robotnik turning all the animals into robots? Really? Do the comics ever go into why he does that? Why would lives reset? What kind of game? This isn't your grandma's game, okay? Also, this is my favorite Sonic 1 song. If you remember, we played that game during the Mega Man series, so I'd love for y'all to join me in on that across the Sonic series. So the idea behind the game is, which song in each individual game we play is your personal favorite of that given game? So again, this is my favorite from Sonic 1. Cope! I'm sorry, Cope? You little dickhead! Cope. What? Why did I go through all those rings and not get any of them? Cope. Just, you little snot. I mean, Green Hill's iconic. I'm sorry, Ben One Eye. The fates have willed it. If it makes you feel any better, we were supposed to do this weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks ago. Like, I think literally months ago, actually, at this point. Oh god, does this game have drowning? That's actually a good question. I don't know. I know 2 does. It's fine, Rex. I'm not actually upset about it. I'm upset about the contractors. I'm upset about the fact the electrician still hasn't shown up, and we don't even have a word on that. Our next step, by the way, is to sue. That's the next step. Yeah, we are at the point now where they are not saying anything, and there's no returning calls. And so we're going to have to legally go after them and bring them before the Better Business Bureau. It's been over a month since we're waiting on the electrician, yeah. And the problem here is that's actually the contractor's fault, for lack of a better way to put that. What the hell's rolling, Chill Pangolin? God, you're saying some weird stuff. This is Sonic 1, sir? Not some of this craziness in Sonic 2? I mean, Sonic 1, the movie, needed to establish the Sonic movie franchise. You'll notice that the first Sonic movie actually plays it extraordinarily safe, right? There are a grand total of 2 Sonic characters in the whole film, not counting post-credits. And, yeah, it was very grounded. It's very yellow. It's very safe. It's fine. I enjoyed it. I've actually seen the first film. It's just, it was sashaying into, does this have a market? Which it did. I have not seen 2, or 3, or 4, or 8, or 15. Oh, it was very smart. I would say Sonic 1 is better than both Mario movies, yes. Professionally. I mean, in many ways, that's what Force Awakens did, just better. I have heard extremely good things about Sonic 3, so... It is a smart thing to do. It really is. It's almost sad that you have to do that, but we live in a capitalist society. You kind of need... You need to get enough asses in seats, for lack of a better way to put that, in order to prove the financial viability of your creative enterprise before you can start making good films. To be very blunt about that. Honestly, yeah, Ben and I. Like, I would say we broke the video game curse before Sonic 3. Yeah, the video game movie curse. But not so thoroughly, you know? Come on, I want my shield. I want my shield. Yeah, we have Detective Pikachu, we have the Warcraft movie, which was half of a good film. I love pinball. CPU! I feel like there's another one, and don't say Mario. I actually haven't seen the Tetris movie, although that's not the same thing. That's a documentary, not a movie about Tetris. So, Mario 1, I'm not a big fan of. What should have happened is Mario 2 should have followed the format that Sonic laid out, right? Would that be funny? Mario following the Sonic tradition. But I'm serious. Sonic 1 was a very safe, simple movie that was ultimately inoffensive. It was fine. It was enjoyable for what it is. Mario 1 is a worse film, in my opinion, but it is the same general concept. It is a safe, simple Mario movie. What they should have done is made a Mario 2. They should have made a bigger, better film that delves into the lore more and really has better writing and uses the characters better and blah, blah, blah. Instead, we got Mario Galaxy. Let me jot down some thoughts, because so far this level design is obviously better than Marble Health, but not much better. I like the music. Jot down a music positive for a minute. Yeah, you did ask that, Mr. Ed. If Mario 2 was the leap in quality that Wrath of Khan was, that would have been awesome. God, that would have been so great. Especially since, see, here's the thing. In addition to the fact that it would be great, it would have proven the viability. If there's one thing that happens, is that when someone makes something really good and it sells, both requirements, there's a tendency to that more stuff tends to get greenlit, and then we have more opportunities to have more great stuff in culture, right? More good movies, more good games, whatever, right? This has happened across books, movies, games, shows, etc. It's a very common tendency. So, you know, if Mario 2 had popped, there would be a non-zero chance we would get other greater things. Yeah, no, exactly. Star Wars A New Hope didn't spawn the Star Wars franchise. Empire Strikes Back did. I know it wasn't as well received at the time, but it's true. Empire is the thing that codified Star Wars and launched the franchise and kept the franchise going for a long freaking time. And I would say the first Mortal Kombat movie, the first one, is absolutely like an enjoyably good film. The second one is terrible in a way that you need to perceive to understand just how bad it is. What's the name of this zone? What zone are we in? Gambling Hill Zone? New Vegas Strip Zone? Spring Yard, thank you. What about the 90s Mario movie? Here's the thing. There are a couple of enjoyable cheese moments in the Mario, in the 90s Mario movie. But to be really blunt, most of them are absolutely terrible. Like it's a bad film. It's a bad film. One moment, please. Yeah, that film was an absolute mess. Oh, for Christ's sakes. Wow. I'm not going to say what I just got because it might oust where I live right now, but wow. I just got some interesting spam that was telling me to go contact my lawmaker right now to encourage them to vote against something I am completely in favor of because I'm at risk. I will say, having actually looked into the behind the scenes a decent amount for the Mario movie, the original Mario movie, the old one, the problem boils down to the writing-directing duo who did it, who pretty much never did anything else for the rest of their careers. And that's probably a good thing, because they're awful. They're the most singularly responsible for that film being such a goddamn mess. And something that was actually causing, I can't think of his name, the guy playing Mario, so much personal and professional pain as he was acting in it. Hoskins, thank you. Or is it Hoskins? Whatever. Cool dude. Good actor. Loved him in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I'm gonna go up. Yeah, if you ever wonder why his acting is a little bit weird in that film, he was literally drunk. And he wasn't just literally drunk because he was a terrible actor or a bad human being. It was because the film was so bad, it was... What? Causing him issues. So what happens when we run out of lives? Okay, same stage. I was expecting same world, which is what Mario 1 does, if you remember. So that's actually nowhere near as bad as I thought. No, I literally didn't see it, Elizar. How dare you restrict me from this question? How could you, Elizar? I'll never, ever forgive you for this. Wait, I have one continue? What? I have already answered that, Elizar. I answered that the moment you asked it during the previous VOD. An elemental is a being that is composed primarily of spirit energy and the element in question. Thus, an element of wind, an element of water, element of fire is a spirit energy with that element. Okay? A golem is a robot. Wow, so we only have... The only reason we have a continue is because we got our one special stage. Wow! Hold about that negative. Let me just reach over here. Top in a negative. Okay. Well, I mean, it does make a degree of sense, considering this was in the era where Sega, I just said this, was primarily porting their arcade games over. This was one of their first, original titles for the Genesis. Yeah, Ross really wants me to play Classic Mode because he's pure evil. And he did put this game on the list. He spent $2 to make sure that we play this game. And that $2 is worth my sanity, by God. That's just how cheap of a whore I really am. Save state. What's a save state, Frieza? Yeah, we're not on... I mean, well, oh, come on! This is what the Genesis sounded like. And yeah, as I've mentioned before, it always weirded me out how much people are like, oh my god, the Genesis sounds so much better than the SNES. And I'm like, really? Like I said, there are a few Genesis games that actually managed to do something with its sound chip. Including Sonic 2, as it happens. Then there's Sonic Pinball. And yeah, no, that's that whole unique thing again. The problem I have is a lot of Genesis games that are not the good ones, like the ones we were just mentioning, literally hurt my ears. So I kind of ran into that problem. Yeah, again, Sonic Spinball, which, of all the freaking Sonic games I have actually experienced and played, that happens to be one of them. I can't even tell you why, because it's kind of a weird story. So there used to be this thing, you've probably never heard of it, it's called... What the hell is with that physics? It's called... You Son of a Submariner. Ah! It's Toys R Us. And one time I was at Toys R Us. And while I was there, they had a Sonic game up on the display where you could just sit and play. And I was like, oh, sweet. And I was like, oh, dude, it's Sonic. I don't get a lot of exposure to Sonic. I can't wait to play Sonic. Yeah! It was Sonic Spinball. Hang on, my story gets worse. My mother left me there for a while. Which means I kind of didn't have anything else to do. So I didn't just poke at it, I played Sonic Spinball. I have literally played Sonic Spinball more than any classic Sonic game other than 2. If Sonic Spinball is on the list, I need to remove it immediately. I wasn't using those rings anyways. My old rings were just slowing me down. Yeah, Frieza was trying very hard to get all kinds of side Sonic games funded, and that's never happening, Frieza. just want to be very clear about that. I wasn't expecting a pit. I was expecting a pinball. What the crap? Have I been doing these jumps over a pit this whole time? I was trying to get a ring or two, because I figured there'd be a ring down there. Oh my god, I just realized there's no rings between the checkpoint and the boss. There's no rings between the checkpoint and the boss. Hey, Robotnik? Robotnik? Your wish is my command, Rex. What? I didn't even see the button. What? What? This is when I first hit this checkpoint. I have no lives left, but I have the 28 rings I walked into this area with. Yeah, I've actually never been a fan of Jim Carrey's. I am shocked at how good of a Robotnik he was. Like, speaking as a non-Jim Carrey fan, he was a perfect cast for that. I mentioned this during my stream discussion of the film. He managed the perfect mix of being both, you know, silly and actually kind of terrifying. Because as a reminder, you know, canonically, Robotnik is evil. Unlike, say, you know, Bowser or Dr. Wily or anything like that. Robotnik has issues. Well, this is an interesting situation. Huh. You're welcome. What? What? No! No! You... What? I pulled some bullcrap, and you robbed me of it! Oh my god! I have been robbed! Okay, what did this pop-up say that I didn't even get a chance to see? Save data was found. So yeah, continue. I cannot believe that! I cannot believe that! I bullcrapped that because I am that goddamn good, and it still was like, no. No. No, you're dead. This ain't your grandma's, Mario! Damn it. I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that. I'm honestly kind of in shock. Yeah, it's like a pity rewind. Better than nothing. I'll grant you. That is getting a negative, though. Like, nothing anywhere informs that you have to leave a path to the right, right? Like, that you have to plan which blocks he takes. And look at how many freaking blocks he takes, by the way. Look at that. 2. All but 2. Screw that fight. Whatever. I actually thought about that, Kitten Fan. Oh. Okay, hold up. I need a moment. Yeah, by the way, I still have 1 life. Let me just grab some pain pills here. Too many. Oh man, I cannot wait, Rax. This is gonna be great. I can already tell. This is gonna be so fantastic. Okay, I gotta do my drugs. Okay. Alright, this is gonna be great. We got this. Everything's fine. Enjoy this amazing music. There it is. So the panic attack is here. I like how we're already into gotcha territory, by the way. Yep. Literally couldn't react quickly enough. That's cool. Actually, that's not a true gotcha. I shouldn't call it that. I just got an achievement for getting an air bubble. Listen, I'm just trying to make sure that everyone here has a panic attack. You want to hear something fun? This is true. I have played that music for people who have never played this game, and it has the exact same effect on them. It's just, it is very well-designed panic music. Oh, okay. Oh, God. You like how the bubbles don't show up, like, constantly out of that? It's an intermittent thing. By the way, rings don't save you from drowning. Of course they don't. Why would they, if you think about it? Cute game. Food doesn't save me from breathing in this game. What's funny is that is true in some games. God, I look away for 1 second, I get hit by a spike I didn't even see. Oh God, you saying that makes me nervous. How terribly am I doing, Jill Pangolin? That bird... Okay, whatever. Yeah, by the way, this song can kind of go to hell. I'm not really a big fan of it. Sorry, I'm not talking a lot. I'm at 0 rings and 1 life. No, man, our lord. Of course. Hang on, can I save my brain from this music for a second? Oh God, the boss level. It's okay, it's fine. What about the emeralds? Look, the Wookiees can deal with the emeralds on their own, okay, Lord Firestorm? I don't care. I don't care. Right, Labby. Right. Yeah, this ain't your grandma's Mario, man. If you're wondering, by the way, that is an actual ad that I remember from back in the day. But even ignoring the specificity of it, it really was the tone, right? Only babies play Nintendo games. Only children and toddlers and people who don't actually have taste play Mario games. Real people, yeah, they play Genesis. There's actually a specific ad I'll never forget. No, old Sega ads were wild. Some of them, like, I can appreciate them now, but they were terrible. Um, One of them I remember very specifically was there was this Dorcas who's just like, and I want to stress this kid has to be 12. And so there's this Dorcas there who's just like getting beat up by his bullies. But then he plays a Genesis game. I forget which one, but it was some Genesis game. And he's like, and he beats the crap out of the kids. And he's like, yeah. And then all of the girl kids, he's 12, are there like fawning over him and laying on him like, haha. And he's just like, yeah, Sega. It feels like it might have been Mortal Kombat. I don't remember specifically. I remember it was a Genesis game, and it's stuck in my mind so much that relatively recently, like last year, I looked it up for a friend of mine, and was able to find a YouTube of it. It plays more games than you idiots have brain cells. Like, really? Um, I admit, with a bit of, I don't want to use the word nostalgia because that's not the right word, but there is a bit of the what, Rax? Oh, yeah, the game. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. Um, there's a bit of uniqueness to the old ads. And I'd take that over slop. If there's one thing life has taught me, is that whatever is bad can always get worse. Like, we as a species have not found the floor. You know what I mean? Oh, God, it does, Chip England. Hang on, hang on. I'll pull it up to look up later. Load. Oh my God. It looks so terrible. I'll look at that later, but oh, okay. Anyways, so back to hell. Can I? No, of course I can't. Why did the bubbles spawn up there? That is so mean-spirited. Why do the spitting spikes move faster underwater, where you are demonstrably slower? Why does this game hate me in particular? Did it know I played this NES? It was like, you play your grandma's Mario. I'll shut up about that at some point, I swear. What's funny is I'm not actually that much of a Mario fan. I was a Mega Man kid. It was an ad. It was actually an ad. It was a print ad in a magazine. I remember it. And it was specifically showing off Sonic. Pretty sure it was Sonic 1. And the tagline was, "This ain't your grandma's Mario." That was the ad. My very first exposure to Sega, I'm pretty sure mine was actually also Golden Axe. So, a friend of my mother's had a Genesis. This is before, like, any of this crap. Like, any of my other more proper exposure. And I'm trying to remember if I can even think of it. He had 2 games on it, literally just 2. And I was kind of known as a video game kid, and my mother was like, oh, hey, you should totally video game it up, because he likes video games. And so I went and pulled it out, and it was Golden Axe. But at this point, I had already been playing video games for quite a while, obviously. Hi, Sean. Didn't quite make that. Well, there goes the special stage, but that's okay. Nobody really wants me to do another special stage. That did not work. Interesting. I mean, that was death anyways. Sega! Yeah, I've noticed I haven't got another life this entire time. You stupid thing. Yes, my mother has actually said more than once that she has avoided video games because she was afraid she would get addicted to them. Which is sad, is the word I want to use for that. Do you know we're at the point now, historically, where we have actually done studies on the mental health benefits of video games? That's not a joke. Like, I feel kind of stupid that I even have to clarify that that's not a joke. Because there's just still that much bias against video games as, like, a valid art form or a valid health thing. What?! The bubble inhale interrupted my jump? I was actually not jumping for the bubble, which hadn't even rendered yet, if you're paying attention. I was jumping over the spike. Sega! The studies were in our favor. Legitimately. Video games help. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's so obvious, honestly. It's so duh to say it. It feels silly to say it. Video games are interactive. You are doing. You're engaging your brain in ways that passive entertainment doesn't. I'm not trying to dig movies or shows or books, but you do something when you're playing a video game. And so, video games engage your brain a little bit more and in slightly different ways. Yeah, it literally helps to repair connections to your neurons and literally can help push back Alzheimer's. Most people have heard of Skyrim Grandma. I know old people personally who've played Skyrim. And it's a relatively large thing because it's a perfect game for that kind of a thing. It's something to do, entertainment, and it's something to keep their brain going. Oh, no, I was ready for you that time. The real catch is figuring out which type of game works for people, because not everyone's into every game, right? Especially someone who didn't start early, like, honestly, I'm sure a lot of us did. I mean, again, I started playing video games when I was 3. Yeah, don't put your grandmother down to play Soda. She might enjoy it. You don't know. Damn it, whatever. I don't know what I'm supposed to do about that with that stupid bubble right there. Did I like Golden Axe? Yes and no. I thought the way that they did the magic system was kind of neat, and I did enjoy the aesthetics of it. I might have actually been able to make that. Altered Beast, that was the other one. I knew there was a second Genesis game he had. It was Altered Beast and Golden Axe. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, being bad at games is not the point. But yeah, no, Golden Axe is, I mean, we're going to review Golden Axe someday, but Golden Axe is an interesting game. At that point in my life, I'd already been exposed to beat 'em ups because Double Dragon is a lot older than people tend to remember it is, and so I was already like familiar with the concept. And I was like, oh, okay, beat 'em up, got it. Summon a dragon. There we go. No, yeah, I want to cover Golden Axe. Oh, sorry, Golden Sun. I mean, I've already covered Golden Sun in my life. Golden Axe, yeah. Historical context, if nothing else. And no save states, no nothing. That's not true. We do have, like, our last checkpoint pretty much puts an autosave at the state we were at when we get to that checkpoint. So, same rings, same lives. And yeah, as has been pointed out in chat, I still have not been offered a new life since all of this started. Is this looping? It's more like how a lot of the old games used to do quick saves. Bring on the slow. That's why they call me Captain Slow, because I'm boring and nobody likes me. Actually, most of my friends agree I would be Clarkson, but whatever. Ah! Hopefully with slightly better demeanor in real life, but whatever. Yep. Okay. Sega! See what I mean? Last checkpoint. I thought about it, Ross. That's the best part. But of course, I do not have these stages memorized. In fact, I honestly don't recognize most of these stages at this point. I think we're already past most of the stuff I did back in the day. Like I mentioned, I've never beaten this game, so this will be my first time. Oh god, you're probably right, Brax. Yeah, imagine when I get to actually hard stages instead of bulk grab stages. Yeah, get your guesses in here. Get your fresh guesses in here. Someone remember number 3. Oh, game, come on. That's just unkind. Yeah, we gotta have the tood. Why didn't it come back down again? Why did you say that, Getting Fat? Why did you say that? Sonic hates water? Because you should too. Goodness, is we're right here. No, wait. Oh, you son of a submariner! Wow! Okay. Okay. This is funny because we're effectively working at a... oh, come on! Oh, okay. With infinite lives is what I was about to say. Yeah, I've played games in the 80s. I know how this works. Yeah, how many lives are in this game total, I wonder? Is this 2 or 3? Are we on level 2 or 3 here? I don't know, Ross! I don't know! This is 4. This is 8. Okay, this is 3. Hi, Wolverine. Yeah, we know exactly what to do. I just got gotcha'd once because, you know, the water didn't come back down. And then I got gotcha'd twice because the dude knocked me off of it. Speaking of, yep, okay. Cool. They put the spikes there just to make sure that your jump arc was covered. I even thought about trying to make that jump over to the other platform. And just the spikes were right there to interrupt the exact angle I would need for that. What is wrong with the people who made this game? What are they, German? This game is indicative of the endless suffering and peril. I mean, it's true. One of them's in frickin' prison. Not jail. That's actually different. Gotta get finicky about that. It's 3 gotchas on 1.5 screens. That is bonkers. Oh my god. Wait, what? 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 Nope. I went like a frame too early there or something. Hammered it. No, Matter Lord. What's your question, Elizar? What evil question do you have for me? Oh my god, I just noticed the time. Is it frozen? What's going on there? Like, why is that not... What of the 3 live-action Sonic movies, which is the best? Well, I've only seen the first one. I actually said that earlier. I really know you're not listening today. I know I'm really dumb today, but man, come on. Damn. Oh, come on! I haven't seen the third, Elizar. Why don't you listen to me, Elizar? Why? I haven't even seen the second. One of my favorite things about the totally not real Yakuza connections for Sega. Please don't kill me. No, because I don't care. Please don't kill me. There's a gentleman, a very, very rich person, who, when Sega was going to go under, he came out of nowhere and donated several $1 million to keep the company afloat. Now, I'm not going to go more in detail on that, because good luck finding more details about that whole thing, but it is a matter of public record that this gentleman was like, hey, oh, bullcrap. I disagree with that. Oh, I don't like any of this. I don't like any of this. I mean, Sega was making some extremely dumb decisions in this era. Sega! Not when this game came out, like around the early 2000s. It doesn't necessarily mean he's connected to the Yakuza. It doesn't. He's totally connected, though. Let's just be real. Actually, here's the fun thing, though. By all accounts, and I actually believe this, dude just really loved video games. Wherever that money came from, he really just wanted to keep Sega afloat. Remember, Sega was kind of a household name, well, maybe household's the wrong word, in the arcade scene at this point in history, especially in Japan, whose arcade scene kept going a lot longer than anybody else's did. Well, I shouldn't say anybody. Longer than the States did. I thought it was looping. I don't know if you caught that. The second platforming jump, platforming puzzle, was exactly identical to the previous one. Like block for block. So, I thought it was looping. Oh, my thumb hurts. Do you know how rare that is for me? I just beat Jedi Fallen Order without any issues. My thumb hurts. What the crap? Hi, Valerian. See, Valerian's my Yakuza connection. Well, Mafia, I guess, in Valerian's case. Okay. What world is Labyrinth? What number? 4th, I want to say? Fourth sounds right. Because it was green, marble, casino, and then labyrinth, right? I know it's not called casino, whatever. Okay. Hey, look, it's an extra life that I have now been chopped off from getting. This is mean. This is literally just mean to do this. How do you even get that? Oh, I see how. Never mind, that's not as bad as I thought. The fans! Oh, God! This right here is a representation of the Sonic fan base in real life. Oh my God, Franklin. Look, I don't want to know what Rax has been up to. That's her business, not mine. I don't know, I've heard good things about Frontiers. Yeah, nice construction yard amongst the cityscape kind of a thing here. No, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Was that too far, Rex? I apologize. I picked the first name I trusted to continue Brakeman's joke there. I apologize. I kind of wish I did have save states. I do like the brickwork here. I'm going to jot down that positive right now. I actually haven't been all that impressed with the brickwork for the most part. No offense to it, it's just been kind of, It's just Starlight Zone, right? I think. Yeah, Green Hill had some legitimate effort put into the background. I was actually really impressed with it. And then everything else is like, hey, look! Monochromatic bricks! As far as the eye can see. I know I made the comment that this is just Mario 1 again, but guys, you didn't have to take me that literally. Hey, look! Lava! And I've seen good lava. I have given pluses for lava in video games before. I was going to jot down something else. Oh, right. I already did. Okay, we're cool. The Deviant Heart Nation. Little did they know what horrors they would unleash. Oh, come on! I didn't know it was there! I didn't even know it was coming. I'm so stupid. Best lava I've seen in a video game? Oh, I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I got another wife! Let's see. Czar asked... I didn't even see it, Czar. Go ahead and repeat it. Listen, I'm just saying the Time Eater has the best theme song of any villain in Sonic. Don't at me. Oh, right, Arcanum. Right, I was going to answer you, and then I ran into some platforming issues. Sorry. It's one of those I already answered you in my head kind of situations. I apologize. So Arcanum has a plot point so disgustingly horrible, I have trouble acknowledging that it exists. Okay, I guess Infinite does count as a villain. I usually think of him as more as a speed bump. Anyways, It's a background story element that there's no quest about. It's just an aspect of the lore of the setting, and it's really, 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 really horrible. Like, disturbingly horrible. Like, I'm not gonna say it. You're not gonna get me to say it, especially on a Sonic stream. Oh, come on! No! What? You son of a... I mean, I don't even care that much. Worse. Melkor Blade. But yeah, no. Arcanum is hard vetoed. I'm never playing that crap again. Ever. It's also kind of a pain in the ass to play, and, well, let me tell you something. So when I did my rumination of Arcanum, I was quite positive about the game. Probably because it's actually a really good game, for what it's worth. Naturally, this led to a large community of assholes to do everything in their power to slander and, stalk? Like, cyber-stalk me for a while? And try to infiltrate my other communities in order to try and constantly badmouth me. Yeah, it was worse than normal heckling. It was a lot of bans were handed out kind of heckling. And you know me, I tolerate a lot of heckling in my life. That did not hit me. I do not agree with that. Arcanum is a game made by Troika, who I don't remember what else they've done, but you probably have heard of them if you're part of the RPG scene at all. It is generally considered a good game in several ways, but it is too much in several respects. It is also probably the worst gameplay of any CRPG ever, and I don't mean that facetiously. The gameplay axis of that game is insanely bad. Like, whatever it is you're picturing in your head right now, you are not getting there. I mean, you know, I tend to be a little bit more persnickety about CRPG gameplay, but no, this is the bottom. This is the bottom of the barrel when it comes to CRPG gameplay. I would watch Mandalore Gaming's discussion of Arcanum. I don't think it's worth watching a full playthrough, quite frankly. Yeah, you notice I am not going fast. That's probably why I'm alive right now. I don't know why, but I remember this boss. It's not for me, it's like from a speed run of this fight. Because I've never fought this boss. Like, we're in new ground for me. I didn't think that would work. To my knowledge, it's just the one Arcan Bill. Don't quote me on that, though. Don't mind me. I ring juggling every day. Sorry, infidelity joke. Ugh. Why do you have so much health? Oh, shoot. Okay. Oh my god. I didn't think I had that. I mean, totally as planned. Totally. Brain Zone, huh? What is this music? I do like bottomless pits in CD. Now we've got Yoko blocks. Okay. Okay, that's confusing. What's interesting is I think this is simultaneously better and worse than Mario 1. It's a lot more bullcrap. Mario 1 stages, most of Mario 1 stages are very fundamentals. Not in a bad way. In the way I would actually say that most of the kind of... God damn it, why does that jump keep not happening? Kind of teach platforming, right? They teach level design. They teach interactions. Until you get to World 8, at which point it just becomes total bullcrap, top to bottom. By contrast, this is all over the place. Like, there's no consistency here. There's no pattern. It's just, yep, there's this stage, and then there's this stage. Come on. That was my fault. I hesitated too much. Be free, little bunny. Get out of here. Now here's the real question. What's the harder game? Jedi Fallen Order or Sonic 1? Yeah, the answer is Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah, I was actually ready for the ring for the first time. Yeah, no, I've argued this for years. Nintendo hard isn't actually hard. That's why we call it that. The whole point is that it's not actually difficult. Wow, that momentum is crazy. That's true. Sega does what Nintendo don't. Oops, I didn't actually mean to do that. Yeah, that was my mistake. You notice I've been trying very hard not to spin dash because I technically don't have access to it. Yeah, if you ever heard me use the term frustrating instead of difficult, that's what I tend to mean. I've played plenty of older games, and they are definitely more frustrating than actually hard games. That's why I tend to make the distinction. Yeah, no, exactly, Sean. Like, again, in many ways, this is still an arcade game. It's a step away from an arcade game, but it's still leaning that direction. Sorry, I was trying to actually do it, and then, well, I suck. You mean owlbears? Lord Paramount? There's two gotchas right there. I disagree with that. I mean, I have a saying, Kitten Fan. If a NES game has a better ending than your game, then you've done something wrong. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter if it's the exception. The fact that you can have a satisfying outro and ending in a NES, on an NES cartridge says all it needs to. Please. Or don't. That's cool. Anyways, owlbears are druidic creatures. I don't actually remember where they come from right now off the top of my head. Yeah, there's several Mega Man games that are kind of my go-tos, but Mario 3, arguably Mario 2, Final Fantasy, you know. There are several NES games that have legitimately good endings. They're not great, but they're good, and that's the point. If you can't manage that metric, then you have done something wrong somewhere. What was that? I forget if Mega Man 5 or 6 had a bad ending. I think 5 actually had the bad ending. I mean, 6 did too. Yeah, by the way, it's not like every NES game had good endings. In fact, most of them had bad ones. What? Why would you do that? Why do you hate your players this much? Why? What drives a man to do such things? Did you experience some dark horror in your past? Or were you just born with a heart full of horror? Speaking of bad outros. Okay. Game? There you go. That was frames. That was frames. Game. Game? Game. If I don't have my goddamn checkpoint. Sonic is so dead. The time devout. So, I mentioned that music, right? Hang on, real quick. Since I'm restarting the anything, you're probably wondering why do you say it has a great song? So, it sounds like this. No, it doesn't. That's not it. Hold up. It's this one. There we go. This is just the theme song of the Time Eater. Anyway, okay, so let's get back into this. If we can. I mean, we're committed at this point. We're literally on the last stage. We got to finish this today, right? Oh, yeah, no, the Time Eater song is great. But don't worry, we'll be doing anniversary mode henceforth. Okay, so we're on the right stage. And we're on our checkpoint. Okay, and we have one ring even, which is the amount of rings we had when we last were here. Yeah, imagine having to replay the whole game because of what just happened, by the way. I don't have to imagine something like that. I played Ninja Gaiden. Oh, I played a lot of old games that have that kind of rule. Did you see that? The bubble spawns so far up that the whoosh catches me, and I can't get the bubble because the bubble. Sega! That's in addition to the trap. For some reason, I'm blanking on other games that just kill all your progress when you die. I know I've played quite a few of them, but I don't tend to replay those games, because those games tend to suck. So, new plan. Skip this. That's on me. I got off my tempo, and that was pretty much game, unless there was an air bubble right up above me. Since I can't get the trap air bubble, I kind of have to just make it last. Green Hill Zone was actually really good. Like, legitimately good. There's a reason I kept pausing under, like, 2 screens to talk about how good the design of the stage was. Starlight was actually decent, too. I'll actually give you that. So we got 2 good stages. I mean, it's been a lot of games. That, I completely believe Archeon failed. It feels like it got way more polished than anything else. Now, there would be an interesting thing to know the metric of. How many people, ever, have gotten how far? Like, what, right? Like, what percentage of people who have played this game at all have gotten to... I got photobombed to death. I mean, I've said it before, the Sunshine Syndrome is actually probably the single most prevalent syndrome I've ever termed, the most prevalent lorium I've ever come up with. Most games, like 99, I would say, % of all games ever have Sunshine Syndrome to some extent or another. Yeah, Factory Worker Syndrome's up there, too. Oh, I timed that wrong. And now I have no rings and no means of getting any. Is there up here? Please shoot your... Thank you. I mean, think about all games ever, Blue of Alex. Think about the thousands of NES games you and I have never played, right? Think about the hundreds of thousands of PC games we've never played. No, yeah, it's a pretty high number. Yeah, think of all the shovelware, of which there is so many. Oh god, I wasn't even thinking about mobile games. Oh, you know what? That's actually fair, Blow-Off Alex. You're absolutely right. Now it got me thinking. Considering that, no, there's no save states. I'm actually playing like an official copy of the game and everything. This is quite legit. The fact that jump is just so low that I have to make each of these jumps individually. Like, I can't double up on any of these jumps. And that interrupts me. I'm at the mercy of RNG of getting there in time for the bubble to be there. Sega! That's just... Wow. Okay. I'm gonna be late for dinner. That's what's gonna happen. Because we're on the last stage. I gotta beat this today now. Like, there's no reason to delay, right? So... I'm gonna have an adorable niece come up here. Probably in about 5-10 minutes and be like, hey, and I'll be like, hey, yeah. I'll be a minute. How will you be a minute? Well, you see, I'm playing crap. Yeah, a lot of collections of old games have save states and other quality-of-life features built in, because, and this is important, they're older games. A lot of them need it. Where do you live? Final Zone. I accept this. Now, hang on. I'm curious where the save is. Yeah, no rings, by the way, because of course there's no rings. Why would there be rings? Screw you. Okay, thank God. That's just... Sure is a final boss. Yes, that's right. How many viewers do I have right now? Because that number of people just had fun with this game. I can't believe that didn't kill me. I cannot believe that didn't kill me. Ah! I suck. There. Time. Ugh. We only got one special stage, and we didn't get the crystal there. Sorry, emerald. Hey, look, it's the good stage in the game. Oh, I shouldn't say good. Best. It's the best stage in the game. Oh my god. I mean, I've never even touched Sonic CD, so I'm going in as blind as can be. The only thing I know about is the Michael Jackson thing, and that's it. So, total blind. We'll see. I love how if I'll tab, it'll just mute the game. That's a great thing that I like being a thing. Sure. Oh, that's Sonic 3? My bad. I know there's some music thing with CD because every single time someone speedruns it, they're like, which soundtrack should we play? And it's this whole thing. Like, it is an entire thing where they're like, it's usually a donation incentive. Play the music. And I thought that was the Michael Jackson thing. I'll try off the guessing game in a second. By which I mean right now. Hope your guess is in, because if not, oh well. Boop. I'll be honest, I actually didn't think we'd beat this today, so I'm not 100% ready for this. There we go. This is the one I wanted. The cam hack. You're probably thinking, what the hell is the cam hack? Oh yeah, by the way, there's our ending. Try again! The ending, if you get it, is not what I would call more satisfactory. Legitimately. You ready for the good ending? You ready for the good ending? This is it. This is it. There it is. Oh yeah, look at that. Isn't that a great ending? Negative to story. Here you go. Enjoy this instead. Okay, so I hope at least some of you in the chat here will enjoy this. Especially anybody who's ever played this game before. There is no hope, Mr. Red. Abandon all hope. So that was Green Hill Zone. If you're wondering, this is a hacked version of a Genesis ROM, which is designed to keep the camera on Sonic. If you don't understand, TASs usually go so fast, the camera can't keep up with Sonic. And so, what a normal TAS looks like, and this is actually very boring for a long time, was you would just hear sounds off camera, and then the mission complete sound. And then several seconds later, it would finally catch up, and, you know, there you go. So that's why the graphics are wigging out so much, is because the game is not supposed to be able to move the camera that quickly. This is just what Sonic sees all the time. She recognizes Sonic. I just have to praise that. Because you're so good, aren't you?
I've seen the videos in Georgia.
Listen, Rex. I'm just not that good at video games. I'm sorry, everyone. Yeah, that's it. We did it. Time. We did it. Woo-hoo. We're so amazing. Say one thing, there's no padding in this game. I thought was nice. Hey, how do I feel about replayability for Sonic 1? You will replay this game, whether you want to or not. Try again. Here, let's get a nice shot. There we go, there we go. That is the perfect encapsulation of this game right there. Try again. I don't know where we're going to be at for replay pauses for all the other ones. We'll see. I'm actually looking forward to it. Where's the... Ah, here it is. I mean, I've seen worse first games, I'm pretty sure. In fact, someone do me a favor. What's our worst scoring first game right now? That is not what that song should be. That's also not that song. What the hell? Oh, whatever. I don't care at this point. Alright, so this is... Yes? Yes?
Let's wait until Layla. She might be coming.
Why? What's happening?
Dinner.
Oh, okay. Well, right now... No, actually, Sonic was trying very much not to be Mario. It was just trying to compete with Mario. Like, it was trying to be their Mario. All right, so Sonic the Hedgehog, right? Sega Power gave this game a 97% score. Wow! Allow me to disagree with that. Final story score, +3! That's a rate, that's 0.91 an hour and an 80% ratio. That's pretty solid. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Gameplay is -20. That makes it the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th worst we've ever covered for that. Just of 2D platformers, by the way. That is 6.06 negatives per hour and a ratio of 25%. That's not super great. Giving us a final golden number of, drumroll please. And no, there's not, but I don't even know how to set that up.
What?
Yeah, go. I'll be down in a bit. Go. I love you. Negative. $39.87. That's actually not really all that terrible. That is still down there with, like, say, Mega Man X6 or keep Kirby's Dream Land 2, but that's not great. It is much higher than I was expecting. And I'll tell you exactly why. It's because we're playing the Origins version. No, I'm being serious. All you have to do is think about every single one of those game overs, restarting the entire game. Remember, that's part of the factor. The exact version of the game we're playing counts for the review. If not for that autosave at checkpoints, this would have been much worse. So yeah, that sounds about right. Looks like Pancakes wins, almost on the dot there. Look at that. Put that towards Star Trek Voyager, Jedi Survivor, and Skyrim. Done. I hope you all have appreciated. This has been fascinating and interesting to go through, legitimately. And I'm actually beating the game now. Legit. Tomorrow, we cover the second Sonic the Hedgehog game, which I have never played at all. Look forward to that. I'll see you guys.